Yuji Sana was a young man working in an office, but one night he mysteriously transferred to another world filled with mysterious creatures and skillful humans. He's recognized here as a monster tamer and a sage with the help of his little tamed monsters called slimes. Yuji has gained enough powers to live a decent life, but he's still unaware of his abilities and the purpose of his transfer to this storage place. Yuji beats up a deadly monster in the forest with the assistance of several slimes. He heads back to the Adventurous Guild in Fasten Town. One of the guild's members, Gale, is trying to convince others that the slimes are more powerful than what they are expected to be. Everyone makes fun of him as slimes are considered to be nearly harmless. Their conversation is interrupted by Yuji's entrance. He has gathered a huge amount of Daira flowers, which are a rare material used to make energy potions. It's almost impossible for a common adventurer to be able to gather so many of such precious flowers. The receptionist at the guild named Lily gets shocked to see so many Daira flowers at once that she never witnessed in her life. She rushes to call the branch chief Aegis. He tells Yuji that the flowers are more than they will ever need for the next 2 years. Everyone there becomes suspicious of Yuji's identity, but before they can inquire further, an adventurer named Regan rushes into the building. He informs them about the huge number of monsters appearing in the woods and marching together at one place. Yuji's slime team is spread all around the woods, and it informs him that the monsters are heading towards Fasten Town. He gathers all the adventurers in town and advises them to leave the town to save their lives, as the number of monsters already outnumbers them, so it's useless to even try defeating them. However, the adventurers don't want to run away like cowards. Instead, they are ready to help the other people in town as well. The monsters are thousands in number, so the adventurers can't beat them on their own, so they are left with no choice other than thinking of an effective plan. Suddenly, Yuji raises his hand. He tells them that he can use a dragon bone to recreate a dragon's flame that will kill all the monsters. Though it sounds unbelievable, other people who don't know much about such magic, so they agree to Yuji's plan. The adventurers head over to stop the monsters at the town's gate while Aegis and Lily are giving energy potions to the town's men. The adventurers use their different fighting techniques, but they are all in vain in front of the huge number of enemies. Yuji hides away in a tower to use his magic skills. He sends messages to his slimes to go into the woods and unite with a girl named Dairet, who helps him in catching the shady guy with the magic stone. He's the one who attracted the monsters in the woods. However, the stone can kill the person who touches it, so the slimes are scared to proceed. But with the spells cast by Yuji, the slime succeeded in catching the man and sealing the stone as well. Unfortunately, the captured man kills himself before he can get inquired. Yuji calls the slimes back to town to help the adventurers. Yuji has lied about the dragon bone and the recreation of the dragon flame. Actually, he is using his own magic skills to defeat the monsters. He has to hide since he can't reveal it to the people around as they are not familiar with such strong magic yet. After checking out the town map and the several skills he has, Yuji finally figures out a way to defeat the monsters without getting suspicious. He tells Lily to call everyone back inside town, but a monster has crossed the premises of the town already. The adventurers Gale and Regan ask others to leave them with the monster and save others. Luckily, Yuji's tamed monster, the Proud Wolf, saves them and brings them inside town. After putting a barrier all around the town, Yuji casts an outward fire spell and kills most of the monsters. But a few are still left. Such spells are so powerful that they can kill their caster because of the mana cost. If the caster has no mana remaining, it will start costing his life points. It's considered impossible for a common tamer like Yuji to cast them. Surprisingly, Yuji is already positioned to cast it again to sweep away the remaining monsters. Everyone is shocked at the display of magical powers they have never witnessed before. Yuji falls unconscious after the second attack and opens his eyes in the Adventurous Guild's room. Lily brings soup to thank him for saving the town. There is a celebration going on in honor of Yuji, but before the town gets more suspicious about Yuji's powers, he decides to sneak out to another town with his group of slimes and the Proud Wolf. Meanwhile, he just investigates the woods and finds the shady man's lantern and the sealed stone. He decides to dig deeper into this matter, but the slimes have informed Yuji about this already. No one has much info about Yuji because he simply keeps changing places. Right now, he has entered a new town called Kilia. A famous member of the clergy from the Central has entered the town recently, which caused a huge number of people to gather in the church. After having lunch, Yuji goes to find the town's adventurer guild. However, the guild doesn't usually admit tamers, but due to Yuji's enemy tracking ability, he gets admitted to the town's adventurer guild. He finds an adventurer party in an instant. The other members of the party are a dagger expert, Rhodes, an archer, Tina, and a lancer, Lisa. They invite Rudy to take part in their investigation of the Earth Dragon. However, Yuji keeps getting flashbacks of the office he used to work in before. Yuji spreads his slimes around and informs his party about the wolf masters nearby. Rhodes takes them down with his exceptional dagger skills. The party is highly impressed by Yuji's tracking skills as they haven't seen them in any tracker before. They ask Yugi where he learned them, but Yuji dodges the question. As night has set in, they decide to sleep in the woods and continue their search the next day. They take turns guarding the camp, and Rhodes chooses the first turn for himself. Yuji was just another average office worker who used to spend his day buried under files or stuck to the computer screen. One night while doing overtime, he took a nap but woke up in a strange place that looked like a video game in which he could see his skills and power levels and discover new abilities as well. At first, Yuji believed he was hallucinating due to exhaustion. However, he suddenly saw a slime monster nearby who led him to a house filled with books about different skills and magic. There he also found more slimes there who got tamed by Yuji instantly. Each slime picked up a book to read, and whatever book they read, its knowledge and skills were transferred to Yuji. That's how he became a sage with vast knowledge and abilities. He can hear and talk to his slimes in his mind. He can also transfer spells through them as well, making people believe that the slimes are performing the magic. Back to the present, Yuji wakes up in the middle of the night when the slimes inform him about Rhodes running away during his shift. The two girls also find it suspicious and follow Rhodes. He stops at a small house where the infamous bandit Jelios is hidden. Rhodes has been working with him for a long time. He brings people to investigate monsters but abducts them instead and tells the Adventurers Guild that his partners ran away. He has the same plan for Tina and Lisa as well and has set up the trap already. Jelios admires him and tells him that the blue moon has appeared and a huge calamity is near. His men don't understand his reference and laugh at him. Yuji can see this all and gets curious about the calamity Jelios mentioned. However, he needs to save the girls first. So he sends his slimes to surround the bandits and casts a freezing spell which turns all of them into ice. Yuji tells Tina and Lisa that his slimes have done this all with the slimes' help. They are safe to continue their investigation about the Earth Dragon. The slimes make all the arrangements, from finding a camping place to providing food for them. The girls are just stunned at the magical display and decide to rely on Yuji in their further journey. After setting up the camp, the girls go to sleep, but Yuji is still thinking about the Blue Moon salvation and the upcoming calamity Jelios mentioned. Then the next morning, they continue their search for the Earth Dragon. They reach near the Grand Canyon, also known as the Valley of the Wind because it gives out gusts of wind every now and then. Yuji gets flashbacks of how the people of Faston were amazed by his powers, and the girls showed the same reaction. At this rate, he will get suspected easily. He needs to keep himself from getting overboard. He tries to find weaker spells to use in the future and practices them on the monsters nearby with the help of slimes. He can't reveal his infinite power yet. In fact, he doesn't know completely about it either. For the time being, he has to give credit to the slimes for all the magic spells. The blue moon has turned the whole sky purple and darkens the environment. The branch chief Ryard is noticing this all in concern. His worry is elevated when he gets informed by Father Stale that the blue moon is known to bring calamity, and that they need to be cautious. Everyone was glaring at the color-changing sky when all of a sudden a stone falls from the sky and turns into a huge dragon levitating in the air. Lisa gets scared and suggests returning back to the town from the route of the Wind Valley. The gusts of wind will keep away the monsters. Yuji instructs his slimes to take the lead so he can kill the monsters on the way by transferring spells. They have almost passed the valley but get blocked by the Earth's dragon. It was hiding under the ground for the whole time, therefore he never got affected by the wind. Lisa and Tina rush to hide and call Yuji, however, he wants to face the Earth's dragon. Yuji can't use big spells in front of the girls and uses the small ones. None of the spells seem to be working. The Earth dragon has a tough shell that is helping him in defense. Finally, Yuji thinks of a plan. He distracts the dragon and brings him in the way of blowing air when the sudden sandstorm hits. The girls can't clearly see what's going on. Yuji uses this chance to cast the flame spell and burns down the dragon to the bone. The girls happily come to cheer for him and are ready to tell the story about how he defeated the dragon. Lisa asks him if he used the ores hidden in the valley to burn the dragon since the valley is enriched with flammable mineral ores, making it the only reasonable explanation. Yuji doesn't know anything about the ores and their use, but he uses it as an excuse and says yes, he did it with the ores. When they reach back to the guild, they inform others proudly about their achievement for killing the dragon and catching the wanted bandit. Yuji and his team get a huge reward. Later, Yuji is also invited by the branch chief to join the meeting about the Blue Dragon of Delight. Fuji provides them with the details of what he saw by drawing a high-quality sketch with magic. However, the slime gets the praise again. Yuji's sketch matches with the dragon's image in the Book of Legends the member of the clergy brought from the central. Father Stale tells them that in the legend, this dragon had the capability to kill a whole continent in 3 days. This current appearance could also provide the same destruction to them. He further tells them that the deadly dragon was defeated by a divine emissary with incompatible powers. It's impossible to find such an individual in the present. This leaves Ryard in deep thoughts. Suddenly, he remembers a historical event about which he tells everyone. Around 30 years ago during summer, the sun was shining at its highest peak, but the moon came in his way and caused a huge eclipse. That day, a ritual was performed in the capital's grand cathedral. It was a soul-summoning ceremony and was supposed to be effective after 30 years from that day. It turns out to be last week at the present time. The summoned spirit has entered this world already that will defeat the upcoming calamity, but it's still unknown who he is. That spirit was called to defeat the upcoming calamity. Meanwhile, the dragon is continuously growing under the darkened clouds and will proceed to destroy the world soon. Ryard doesn't want to sit and wait for death, so he orders the army to gather and attack the dragon. The next morning, after leaving the meeting, Father Stale takes Yuji to the church. He hands over to Eugene a mysterious dagger called the Dragon of Kethes. Until now, no one could get the true value of it, but the father believes it will come in handy to Eugene. The fight the next morning. After so much motivation, Yuji has decided to help the town in the fight. However, he hasn't yet realized that he is the summoned spirit meant to save this world. Watch this next video.